I extend a warm welcome to all the delegates from the BRICS nations, delegates from across India, from various urban bodies. These three-day deliberations on the important issue of urban transition in Brazil, Russia, India, China and South Africa is an important conference. Urbanization, particularly in the developing nations of the world, and the attendant challenges are the major contemporary socio-economic and political issues before all of us. Urbanization is a reality. People are moving faster to urban areas because of education, employment, entertainment, economic activity, and also enhanced medical facilities. People are moving towards urban areas. Even I have moved from rural development to urban development. Earlier I was rural development minister, now I am urban development minister. This has become a natural process and it is irreversible also. While taking care of the needs of the rural people, there is even need to focus our attention on the growing urbanization and the challenges that are there, followed by that. So keeping that in mind, friends, there is no better way of addressing them than discussing threadbare what are the experiences of these member countries of BRICS nations. What are the good practices? What are the challenges? And what are the solutions? That is the agenda before us. And this August forum, which is meeting here as part of the BRICS conferences on various issues, will definitely give us an opportunity for all of us to discuss and enlighten ourselves. Because I always feel that everybody should learn from others. So keeping that in mind, let us try to learn from each other's experience, keeping in mind the importance of urbanization and pressing need to find effective solutions to these challenges. The BRICS group has introduced an urbanization forum. These BRICS nations, they are all important nations. They constitute 53% of the world urban population. So such is the importance of this conference. This conference is the third in the series, with New Delhi and Durban hosting the previous two. This is the third conference. We are meeting in this historic city of Visakhapatnam, Vizag, Voltaire earlier it used to be called. A beautiful city with a natural beauty and also with beautiful people and dutiful administration here. I am confident that they will provide the right opportunity for all of us to have a meaningful discussion. Raising aspirations of the people for better opportunities are the driving force of urbanization across the globe. With about 32% of the people in India living in urban areas in 2011, the urbanization is fast picking up and will continue to reach this level. It may go up to 70% also. While the urban population of India was 377 million in 2011, it is expected to cross 600 million in the next 15 years by 2050. India will predominantly urban, shedding the long-standing tag of being rural. This demographic transition in the form of rapid urbanization is a huge challenge, but I call it as an opportunity also. We are capable of converting this challenge into an opportunity. That's why we are all meeting here. The policy makers, the central and state governments, ministers, urban local bodies and all other stakeholders are all going to participate in this conference, three-day conference. The positive correlation between the level of urbanization and economic development is an accepted fact. 65% of the Indian GDP is coming from urban cities. Cities are engines of growth. It's an undeniable fact, and that is the case worldwide. While 84% of the population in Brazil live in urban areas, 73% in Russia, 64% in South Africa, and 56% in China. This goes to prove the potential benefits and challenges even in India and also in those countries. BRICS bloc, with more than 3 billion people, account for over 53% of the world's population and about 1/4 of the global GDP is coming. 1/4 of the global GDP is coming from these BRICS nations. This mismatch again throws light on the need for the potential for stepping up economic growth in the number of countries. All the 5 countries are members of the powerful G20 group and are major voices in the Committee of Nations given the size of their economies and their further potential. As McGrahan and Martin has observed rightly, the entire developing world is in the midst of global urban transition that together with economic globalization is shifting the economic sea of development, and the economic power is drifting southward, mostly notably towards the large and emerging economies of the BRICS. That is the power of this BRICS grouping. This further underlines the need for enhanced cooperation on various crucial and critical issues, including urban challenges, so that the full potentiality of economic development is realized, so that the rising aspirations of the people are fulfilled. For this, the process of guided urbanization through appropriate planning and execution holds the key. This conference is meant to serve these objectives. As referred earlier, BRICS economies have been identified as some of the fastest growing countries and the engines of global recovery process. There are several areas in which the member countries can collaborate with each other to address common challenges faced by us, of which urbanization is a key. As all of you are aware, India is currently holding the chair of BRICS. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is piloting spirited efforts to further national interest through effective bilateral and multilateral engagements with the different countries of the world. He wants to bring a transformation. Reform, perform, transform. That is the motto of the Prime Minister Sri Narendra Modi. There is a mission going on in the country, Mission Modi. Modi means not Narendra Modi. MODI, Making of Developed India. That is a mission before the entire country. People of the country are all willing to join that mission. So keeping that in mind, friends, today the chair of BRICS is organizing several events across the country, including this 3-day conference on urban transition. As the chair of BRICS, India has chosen the theme of BRICS B, building, R, responsive, I, inclusive, C, corrective, S, solutions. BRICS means BRICS, that is Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. But I call it as B for building, R for responsive, I for inclusive, C for corrective, S for solutions. That is the BRICS, the message of this BRICS conference. Friends, we should all really work together. By the time we meet the final BRICS meeting in Goa next month, we should come out with some solutions so that we can take them forward. Our collective goal is to build productive and sustainable urban economies, involve livelihood strategies, and create inclusive urban spaces. We must take care of the downtrodden, the suppressed and oppressed and depressed people. We have to take care of the poor. The growth has to be inclusive, and every section of the society should feel they are part of the growth story of that particular country. Keeping that in mind, our government is going for inclusive policies in various sectors. The Prime Minister has gone for a lot of social security measures, whether it is Janadhana Yojana, whether it is Jana Suraksha Yojana, whether it is Pradhan Mantri Jeevan Suraksha Bhima Yojana, whether it is Atal Pension Yojana, whether it is Mudra Bank, all these are aimed at inclusive growth of the country. Every country, BRICS countries, they have their own policies. They would like to take their country forward through those policies. The member countries have been pursuing urban policies for addressing housing challenges, which is a major challenge as the population increases. And then skilling is an important thing for livelihood opportunities. And empowering the marginalized sections, development of new towns, harnessing the power of technology through smart city interventions and increasing citizens' participation. These are some of the goals before us, and we should all work together. I would like to emphasize that learning from the experience of each other of the countries, that will be a great benefit to all of us. India can learn from the affordable housing techniques of China, experience of management of special purpose vehicle of Brazil, construction of large cities of Russia, etc. India too offers the experience of rebuilding of old and cramped urban spaces, such as the case of Windy Bazaar in Mumbai and the crowded spaces of Nagpur and the current initiatives towards urban renaissance. We need to take forward this sharing of ideas and experiences for collective benefit in an institutionalized manner. Now let me throw some light on brief urban development strategies launched and followed by our governments in India. Since independence, our approach to urban development in India has been marked by ambiguity and vacillation. Initially, the emphasis was rightly on rural development. It was required because huge population was residing in rural areas. Now the population is shifting to urban areas. So the focus also has to shift accordingly, proportionately towards urban areas. We are now confronted of serious challenges of haphazard growth. People came, they settled here and there. There is no proper planning and proper execution and proper development of the cities. That's the big challenge we have. Urban planning, severe infrastructure deficit, poor urban governance and service has really created situation. These, with particularly the urban bodies with poor resources base and technical capabilities, inequity, vanishing open spaces, poor sanitation management, growing slums, and particularly lack of citizen involvement in urban planning and governance. These are the challenges we got. So we have to address them. In effect, the urban agglomerations, which are supposed to be the engines of economic growth, have come to be unsustainable with serious consequences to the quality of life in the urban areas. After decades of JNRM, a program taken up by the previous government, now the present government has come out with a new scheme called as Amrut, Atal Mission for Urban Regeneration and Transformation, where we are taking care of drinking water, sanitation and solid waste management. And in solid waste management also we have gone for new schemes like waste to energy and waste to compost. These are the new initiatives taken by our government led by Sri Narendra Modi. And not only that, the Prime Minister also has given a call for Swachh Bharat, Clean India. He has given a program called as MISI-DC. MISI-DC means MI, Make in India, SI, Skill India, DI, Digital India, CI, Clean India. That is MISI-DC, MI, DI, SI, CI. He wants to bring a total transformation in the country, as I told earlier, and then for that he has given this program. For our urban renaissance, that is revival, initiative is based on a paradigm shift in the approach through 10-point strategy, which comprises, number one, bottom-up approach. Instead of Delhi guiding the gully, now the local people, they plan their own city. Second, extensive stakeholder consultation, making urban local bodies, states and other conceptualization and launching of new urban sector initiatives. Third, objectivity in selection of cities and towns for the new schemes and allocation of central resources. We don't select on the basis of political color. We select them on the basis of their performance, their preparedness for reform. Even the smart city selection, a new beginning has been made where an element of competition, an element of participation of the people has come into being. And fourth, competition-based selection of cities and towns under smart city mission, heralding a new spirit of healthy competition among urban local bodies. For the first time in our country, there is a competition. There is a preparation for the competition. And every city is trying to learn from other cities. They are trying to cope up with the new challenges that are being faced by the cities. And they are ready for themselves for the change that is required. That's a big change that this government has brought in. Convergence in implementation of different new schemes. All the way Amrut scheme, Smart City scheme, Hriday scheme, housing schemes, Swachh Bharat, we are allowing convergence of all these schemes so that there is no overlapping, so that there are no gaps also. Then friends, in addition to this, the sixth, from project-based approach in addressing infrastructure deficit, area-based approach. One project for the entire city, no. What is required for that area? That is a new approach. 7, autonomy to urban local bodies. What Visakhapatnam want, Visakhapatnam will decide, not Vijayawada or not Delhi. We are leaving it to cities to plan for themselves. And the cities are also have been asked to go for citizens' participation. The other day I was in Indore, in Madhya Pradesh. Population is 26.50 lakhs. 6 lakh people have participated in giving ideas how they want to see their city in future. So that makes the people really also to participate, and they will also become willing partners of the development. That is why we want to give autonomy. The government, led by Sri Narendra Modi, has allocated 5% of the national resources to urban local bodies and rural local bodies directly, because so that the urban local bodies gain strength. 8, enhancing planning and execution and technical capacity of urban local bodies. That is also thrust. We are also providing some funds exclusively for the capacity building of the urban local bodies. 9. Promoting essential reforms to enhance urban governance and service delivery besides ensuring accountability and transparency. Accountability and transparency are the key words. You need reforms, otherwise you will be there where you are. That has been the lesson we have learned. So every city is now in a transformative mood. They are all now trying to participate in the governance, and also they are also demanding that they want details. So now the system is that everybody has to be provided with details. In the coming days in India, people can get permission, housing construction permits online. See, Chandrababu Naidu, who is the progressive chief minister of this state, he has fixed at a particular time. You apply, if you don't get reply, then it means it has deemed to have been agreed upon. Same thing is happening in the neighboring state. This is going to be followed throughout the country. The maximum time limit is 60 days. Nobody need to wait. Nobody need to go and shake hand and then do something else. You apply online, fulfill all the conditions, file an affidavit, then it is done. That is a new model that is coming up in urban areas. I am particularly very happy about it. Otherwise, people are complaining. A lot of time is consumed in that. Then, substantially enhancing the central assistance and enhanced resources flows to urban local bodies. Without money, the local bodies always used to look to district collector to state minister, minister to finance minister, chief minister to central finance minister, prime minister, and then you have to look to World Bank or what. It is not a question of looking up, looking inward also. You have to mobilize some resources. People, if you give service to the people, people are willing to pay taxes. That has been the experience. But you must have transparency, you must establish accountability and give better services, people are willing to pay. That's why we have introduced a new system of assessing every city based on the reforms. Then you can go for 24/7 water supply, metering the water supply. And then also you can think of having, you can also have what you call the credit rating of urban local bodies. Because the smart city mission, my friends from other countries, I would like to tell you, the government of India is giving certain amount of money, 500 crores. State and urban local body will also give equal amount of money. That is not sufficient. So you need to get money. So we have allowed PPP model, public-private partnership model. For the people to invest, 34 countries have shown interest to invest in various projects of various cities in our country. But same time they want some sort of assurance. They want the cities getting prepared. That's why we told the cities, you prove your creditworthiness, that you are capable of paying back the money. Otherwise nobody is going to come and invest it for charity, na? We are all aware of it. So keeping that in mind, the reforms are in a full swing. It has just started. It will take some more time. By the time the entire country and all the urban local bodies in the entire country, they will all geared up. New urban sector initiatives, as I told you, Smart City Mission, Atal Mission for Regeneration and Transformation, Heritage Regeneration through Infrastructure Development called as Hruday, and then the Swachh Bharat Mission and Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, they are all based on this principle of urban renaissance. People want development. People want enhanced facilities. People want accountability. People want transparency. These things all are being factored into in our new planning. So friends, this, for the first time, all stakeholders and more especially the political class in various levels have become seriously sensitized to the urban sector challenges and the need to fix them at the earliest to enable rapid economic growth besides enabling a decent living in urban areas. This transformation started taking place. Besides, there is a churning among the urban local bodies and new consciousness emerging to do things differently from the past. Cities, we are here in Visakhapatnam city, people have come forward. They have formed resident welfare associations. They are taking care of the cleanliness of their own area. They are questioning the government officials. They are giving their suggestions. Municipal leaders, either a mayor or the corporation or the corporators, they are bound to hear the problems of the people. This sort of new initiative has emerged from the recent reforms that have been taken up. That's why I said call it a churning among the local bodies. If Visakhapatnam is qualified to be a smart city, why not my city? That is the thinking everywhere. What is lacking in my city? What should I do? That sort of a churning has started in various cities. There is a clear spirit of healthy competition among the urban local bodies to do better than the other, with more and more people seeking answers for a particular city or down lagging behind the other. My Minister of Urban Development, Andhra Pradesh, Mr. Narayana, was just now telling me, guided by the Chief Minister, sir, by October 2nd, all the municipal towns in Andhra Pradesh will be open defecation free. That's a very good initiative taken by the government. I want that every city in the country, 4,041 cities across the country, towns, they should all become open defecation free. That is the goal set by our Prime Minister, both in urban areas and local, rural areas also. This open defecation free, construction of toilets, creating facilities, that is important. First you create facilities, then you can demand people to follow, and then one can think about giving even penalties also later. This is catching up. So friends, the new found of willingness among urban local bodies to compete with each other is clearly evident in the smart city mission. Why my city is not there? People are asking. The mayor is duty bound to answer, the collector is duty bound, the MP is duty bound, the MLA is duty bound, and the government is telling them you are lacking here, or the other city has overtaken you in these areas. So then there is a churning within the cities that is going on. These are 100 smart cities are going to be only lighthouses. They will throw the light, others will follow. That's the idea. We are a big country, huge country. We have a huge challenge, we are aware of it, but the Prime Minister wanted this as smart cities to be lighthouses. This program is on. We have already added 33 cities to Smart City Mission. In this month, in this week, I think in the coming week, after little gap, there will be announcement with regard to remaining 27 new smart cities also will be added. The list will be out, and people are eagerly, anxiously waiting for the result, having participated in the same. Friends, as I told you, all selection is by competition, not by political selection or by political color. The guidelines for the Smart City Mission and Atal Mission for the first time undertaken a comprehensive analysis of the infrastructure deficiencies and have prepared detailed action plan to address them. They have now come to know where do they stand, where to go, how to go, where to go, how to go. This is the most significant outcome of the paradigm shift introduced in the approaches to urban development. As a result of this paradigm shift, the pace and scale of project, the investment approvals have increased many-fold. Resources are the key to recast the urban landscape of India by addressing the infrastructure deficit. High-level empowered committee to assess the needs of urban infrastructure reported in 2007 an investment requirement of 39 lakh crores by 2030-31. This comes to about 2 lakh crore per year. As against this, the Government of India during the first 2 years has approved Smart City, Atal Mission, all an investment potential of 4 lakh crores, which comes to about 2 lakh crore for each of this. This is huge increase in the investments over the past. The investment potential under the new urban initiatives, including urban housing mission, is to the order of 18 lakh crores. Of this investment of 1.84 lakh crores have already been approved. Friends, the Smart City Plan, 78.292 crores for the 33 cities, 45,293 crores for Atal Mission, and 56,231 crores under Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana. These are all the plans that are approved by Government of India. Friends, as I told you, the basic infrastructure deficit is very high. We have to take care of it. And we also need 2 crore houses in urban area and 4 crore houses in the rural area for the poor people and also for the lower middle class. So that also is a big challenge before us, and we are, center and state, we are working together to take care of these urban deficiencies. The host city of Visakhapatnam, an emerging smart city, is a typical example of the process of urban renaissance set in motion jointly by the central and state governments. This city has already received global attention by hosting some major international and national conferences, thereby proving its ability to the potential. We had Commonwealth Speakers Conference in this city. We had WIPS conference at the national level. We had an international fleet review. We are going to have an international seafood summit on 23rd. Now the BRICS Urbanization Forum also is meeting in Visakhapatnam. You can understand how this city is growing. This is a city where I studied. This is a city where I was jailed during emergency for 18 months. And this is a city where I started my early politics. I have seen a lot of change happening in the city because the people of the city, they want to live in a better condition. They are ready to cooperate with the government. That's how this city is coming up. I am confident the results of the deliberations in the Visakhapatnam will help the BRICS nations in addressing the deficiencies. Friends, lastly I want to say only one thing. These politicians in our country, are now changing their attitudes. Earlier they used to ask, we want this much and all. Now they are coming and saying, sir, we are mobilizing this much. We want this much. We want this much matching. That is the change, the positive change that is happening towards the urban management and agenda. We had certain challenges recently. We had flood situation in Chennai, Navi Mumbai, Bangalore, and also Gurgaon and all. That has also opened the eyes of many people, the planners and also the leaders of the country, to convert this new consciousness into a national level positive resolution. The ministry will soon organize a national conclave of states to be attended by the chief ministers and ministers. I have just now talked to our Niti Ayog vice chairman, Sri Arvindji, and I also had with the chief minister of Andhra Pradesh. In the coming days, there will be thrust on the new urban renaissance to make our cities more and more livable while carrying on our reforms and development agenda for the rural areas. The thrust also will be focused in the coming days on the new urban renaissance that is happening. So I will be requesting the Prime Minister also, who is also equally interested in urban development and also appreciative of the new renaissance that is happening. This is how citizens' agenda is taken to a higher levels by this government, given the importance of urban renaissance. This is what I want to say. Friends, once again, I would like to welcome all the foreign delegates from various parts of the country, dignitaries from different organizations. We also have members of parliament, members of the Legislative Assembly here, and we have the honor of having the presence of the chairman of the Legislative Council of Andhra Pradesh also, Sri Chakrapani Garu here among us, and then some media friends from New Delhi also has come. I wish you all a comfortable stay, a meaningful discussion, and also a very constructive agenda to emerge from this conference.
మీ లడ్డూల కన్నా మా బందర్ లడ్డూలు చాలా బాగుంటాయి కదా. మన కాకినాడ తాపేశ్వరం కాజాలు ఇంకా బాగుంటాయి కదా.
సుమారు 2,25,000 కోట్లు ప్రాజెక్టులు కొన్ని మంజూరైనవి, కొన్ని సూత్రప్రాయంగా అంగీకారం తెలిపారు, కొన్ని ప్రారంభమైనవి, కొన్ని పైప్ లైన్లో ఉన్నాయి. ఇది వాస్తవమైన పరిస్థితి.